Straight up with a twist. What's up, humans? This is Katie Rose, straight up with a twist. How you guys doing? How was your week? Did you get to have some friend time? I had some friend time and some work time, and I have some more friend time coming up, which I always think is important. I was looking, I'm like, okay, normally I just wear my yoga pants and clothes while I'm out. Like literally I own so many yoga pants, and I found this company who sends them to me for free just to post. And I always thought it was a scam at first, but some of these people really will just send you free stuff. So anyways, I was like, let me wear a pair of jeans. And I have many. There are some I've already packed up in a bag, for my future daughter. I've been doing that for years. For my future daughter, for my future. And then I'm just giving them to my friends' daughters. I'm like, you know what? Here, you can just have this stuff. Or my friends that are literally smaller than me. But, I tried on some jeans and I'm like, I can't believe these don't fit me. I only bought them 6 months ago, a year ago, I don't know, something like that. And I'm like, they shrink, right? Depending on the material, some are stretchy jeans, but the real jean material, you wash them. And if you definitely dry them, they shrink, right? I'm not making that up. You'd have to hang dry them, but then they get all stiff and starchy. I don't know if anyone knows a way to get rid of that. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll throw them in with a fabric softener to dry them and then pull them out in the middle of the dry cycle. And then the rest of the way, let them hang dry, because I'm like, these definitely are shrinking. And then it's you have to put them on and then wear them and move. It's I need to do aerobics in them to get them to stretch back out to what the size was, but they do shrink, right? No, my husband's like, no, he's like, that's the size they are. I'm like, thanks, hun. I guess I'm just fat all the time. I feel like I'm always going through jeans. I'm like, nope, these don't fit again. Nope, these don't fit either. And it's I have 12 pairs of jeans I can't wear. What is going on? So maybe I need to put some sort of stretcher in them. Or I just have to wear them for an hour before I actually go out. Jeans, guys. If you have good jeans, then you're probably good to go. Jeans. Anyone get that? Okay, anyways. So today, let's talk about things that I hate talking about. Conspiracy theories. What are the main conspiracy theories, right? We know a lot. Flat earthers. We didn't land on the moon. There's an ice wall and they're hiding another land from us on the other side. We've heard about alien abductions and UFOs, or the assassination of JFK, Martin Luther King, Tupac lives. President Donald Trump is secretly fighting a deep state cabal of satanic pedophiles and cannibals. The Mount Rushmore one, they're hiding aliens back there too. The weird thing about Mount Rushmore is there actually is something back there. There's a little room and they have a 1,200-pound slab, and that's covering up what's inside there, which is a wooden box filled with the U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. And I think the Bill of Rights too. So yeah, that's actually back there, but I'm sure they think there's more government hidings. It's always about they, watch out for they. And I always think it's funny because these are the people who are, paranoid and think about all of these conspiracy theories and that they want to, discover or uncover and some sort of truth, right? That's what they want to do. They want to uncover some sort of truth. But that is what's causing mental health issues, is those people that are diving into those things. So they think, no, the problem with the world is all of these conspiracies and I'm going to find them out and make the world a better place. But really what they're doing is causing a spiraling out of mental health issues because of the misinformation. And, some of these people, like I said, they're the ones touting all of the issues. They are affecting other people. It's one thing when you affect yourself, but when you start affecting other human beings, that's when I have a problem. You go be you, that's fine. If you want to think those things, go for it. But when you start collecting others in your mission, that's where I have an issue. And this isn't something that I talk about a lot. But my brothers have issues with this. One more so than the other. And I'm this, outgoing person, and I've done a lot of things in my life, and I've worked very hard, and, I guess I'm a part of society, whatever. At some point you're like, well, I guess I have to be, or you live off the grid, which plenty of people do. But it's been a very big hardship in my family, because you remember the person that they used to be, and then all of a sudden that person is kind of gone. And your cocktail of the day is the rum and orange cocktail. 1.5 ounces of Jamaican rum, such as Appleton Estate, 1 ounce of Amaro Montenegro, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, a dash of grapefruit bitters, and a grapefruit peel twist. Enjoy. Now, recently in the news, Alex Jones has made numerous families suffer in the aftermath of his lies and his theories. He has no evidence or proof, and as Scarlett Lewis said, truth is what we base our reality on. And she is one of the mothers, whose child died in that awful shooting. And I'm glad she won the trial against Alex Jones. It'll never take away her suffering, but justice is important in moving on. And she, on the stand, had to ask him, and she was like, because of everything that he says and does, she said, "Do you think I'm an actor? Do you think I'm an actor too?" And it makes my skin crawl, because this is, the same guy that my brothers have been listening to, and they wanted me to listen to. And, just to appease them, I listened to some of it, and I'm like, how can you not tell what this person is doing, that this is all false? How come you can't see it? My brothers even said, oh, you could start a Flat Earth YouTube channel, and you can make really good money because there aren't as many girls doing it. And I'm like, okay. There aren't as many girls doing it. Like, I wonder why that is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of smart men, but I do feel like women, in history were, repressed for so long that it's worth making 1 or 2 sexist comments by saying, I think women are very smart. And if we look at our history and patterns of, insidious behavior, it's typically from men. I mean, I don't know too many stories about women doing life-altering things in bad ways, but I mean, hey, maybe if we get the chance to have more leadership amongst women and power, it could lead, a woman to a similar corruption. I'm not saying that can't happen, but I really do hope that I live in a lifetime where I see more female leaders. And I know that women tend to be less impulsive, and they are more empathetic, which I think is much needed in our government. Snap judgments and being influenced into decisions, because somebody made some bombastic, assertion and commanded a room by their loud opinion. I mean, while that's confident, it doesn't make it the correct move. And people tend to follow people like that. Oh, they're being really loud right now, and they seem really confident in what they're saying. Let's do that, rather than being rational. And one of the things that the mother, Scarlett Lewis, said about the Sandy Hook shooting and their child is, truth is what we base our reality on. And that's so true, and that you are taking that, my truth, my reality, from me by slandering my family and making these, false accusations. And here's your Realtor Tip of the day. If you're buying a home, you don't really need 20% down. It's great. Definitely look into that. But you can make a down payment of less than 5%. On average, first-time home buyers put down about 7%. Some loans, like VA or USDA loans, even allow you to put 0% down. But understand that the more you put down, the smaller your monthly mortgage payment will be. And if you continue to pay towards your principal amount, you can get kicked out of your mortgage insurance when you reach 20% equity, which is what I did. Also, don't forget to budget your closing costs. Closing costs are a one-time cost that go along with your home purchase. And if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I just saved all this money for a down payment, how am I going to cover the closing costs? You can also get that money gifted to you by a family member. Or if you're like me and the market's on your side, you can get the sellers to cover it. Happy house hunting! Now, we removed Trump for inciting violence and misinformation, and then Twitter suspended more than 70,000 accounts So, at first I'm like, did they actually do anything for all of the other people that are doing all these things? And they did. So I guess they can and have, but they can't control the independent sites that have been created in lieu of them. So when online hate speech moves off of Facebook and Twitter, it migrates to a more fringe like platform, right? And it creates this increased toxicity and radicalization and just leads to more iniquitous online content, right? So this hate speech is continuing regardless. Now, how are we going to control this moving forward? Well, it'll have to be a constant battle along with scams and, ransomware and cyber extortion, which I can't believe we can't get ahead of that. I mean, the stories I've heard from big companies and they had to give back, millions, so that's where they hold your valuable information, like your computer stuff. Anything like at hospitals, and then they hold it hostage for millions of dollars. But now we have to focus on these other things, these conspiracy theorists, right? Now, luckily, Parler, the alternative social network that Trump was using, it was banned as well, but they're trying to bring it back. But some people claim, it's freedom of speech, but it's also defamation. So there's that. And if Trump were to run again, he also claims he'd start something called Section 230. So I don't know what's written in it, but it's basically to curtail the limitations with all the social media platforms. But I think the deplatforming needs to continue to make it harder for people to find these extremists. And it's working. That's what's happening. They're like, oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? And then they start losing their followers. And I think they should all be thrown in jail, and all the pot smokers should be released in their place. Sorry, but they'd bring more peace and love. I'm sure of it. And I think people flock to groups like this mostly because they're seeking camaraderie. They are seeking attention and to feel a part of something. Why do people join the Boy Scouts? Because they want to feel part of a team, anything like that. And it starts with feeling lonely or depressed or psychologically someone who feels like they need to be in control of something, right? If they're more of an independent type of a person. So if they don't have control in their personal lives, they seek to find it elsewhere. And I always feel too negative. This is just my opinion, but I think negativity is so much more effective than positivity. I wish it was the other way, but think about it. Like one negative comment could affect you for weeks, maybe months, some people years. They will never forget what one person said. One positive comment, it might make you feel good for the day, maybe the week. You're like, someone said this about me. I feel great. But we seemingly need more of that, more of the positivity to make that dopamine effect last and to continue. Because as we know, dopamine is not permanent. We're constantly losing it and replenishing, as we talked in kind of the coffee episode. But I did read a couple studies, and studies have shown that prolonged negative thinking diminishes your brain's ability to think, to reason, form memories, and can even be a cause of dementia. I'm like, man. So it's really, important to try to get yourself out of those negative spirals. Psychologically, as parents, we aren't supposed to enforce negative behavior, and we do it every day. And you're probably a parent going, no, I don't. I do not do that. I'm so nice to my kid. And you probably are. And it's nothing that every parent doesn't do. But, we're supposed to say, instead of saying to children, don't eat on the couch, we're supposed to say, can you eat at the table, please? It's the same thing, except for you're saying for something for them to do that's more positive, and then it's actually telling them where you want them to go rather than to just stop doing something, right? So the mind is like a tricky thing. Like, for example, like I'm really afraid of heights. And for some reason, if I'm on the edge of something and I'm like, don't fall over, Katie, don't fall over, that's the edge, my body will literally lean into it. Like, are you serious? Like, that's why I don't even go near the edge. I'm like, because I know my body will freak out and I'll just fall over. So something like that happens with skiers, I've heard as well. So right there, it's like you're skiing and you're like, how are they skiing in that mountain with all of those trees? It's not because they're saying don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree. It's because they're like, follow the snowy path. Keep following the path. Look for the path. Look for the clear. So it's almost as if your body imagines doing the negative thing first, but your body doesn't have enough time to react to the secondary thought of not wanting to do the negative thing, right? So it's like the reaction time is too slow, kind of a thing. I just thought that was interesting. But it's something I've dealt with in my family, and I've wanted to put more time into, but I've also had to make choices in my life where I had to say, I need to focus on me. I can't make, my brother my priority because he's not my kid. I have other things I'm trying to work on. And it's really hard to do that when you really love and care for people and you want to put your time in. But at the end of the day, you realize that person needs to help themselves. They have to come up with that decision. I will be there for you when you make that choice. But like I've been begging, we've set up appointments and then he won't go, and with psychologists, and because we need to get a diagnosis. But honestly, I don't know that doctors know how to handle this kind of mental illness right now. I'm not sure there's a name for it yet. And it seems like we need therapists for social media manipulation. It seems like it's in its own realm because, like I said, I knew this person before, and this person is creative, was a gymnast, is an artist, a drawer, really good at poker, like a different kind of thinker. And I just feel like there is hope and there's a way to get them out of it. But when you continue to repeat the same behavior over and over and over again, it'll take over you. Explaining how the earth moves around the sun and the moon moves around the earth to them doesn't matter because other conspiracy theorists have convinced them of another theory. And I've seen it. I've watched some of these videos and I'm like, how could you possibly think this is real? And especially because of the learning curve of social media. Before that came out, we didn't understand how people were using it. It's like the memes and the clips of things. See, they said this. And it's like, how do you not see that that's just clips put together to make it look like a thing? And some people don't even get how to work social media. My grandmother still says, sincerely grandma or whatever, every time she sends me like a inbox message, and they use like big words and images, that they learned from the scientists, and then they put them in their videos. And they'll say like a sarcastic, like matter of fact, like tone comment, right? To convince their audiences. Like, yeah, it's just this, duh, kind of a thing, right? That's why the sky is brown, duh. And then it's like, oh, see how they're saying it? That's a duh answer. So then they're following their tone. Like there appears to be a lack of understanding nuances in speech. And the gullibility towards these quote unquote preachers is the same way people end up giving money to those big corporate churches, right? They get up there and they say something very convincing. And because you want to believe in something or you want to discover something, right? Uncover something, you want to believe in it, they tap into your emotions. And human nature is to find answers, right? Find answers to the why. And we have trouble just accepting and living the life we have now. And that's why I try to appreciate every day that especially because I've seen what this kind of behavior does to other people, how it's changed them, and the mental illness is real. It's scary. I've seen it happen to friends. I've seen it happen to my very close family, and I just remember tomorrow's not guaranteed. Why waste all of this time listening to someone else's interpretation of life? Interpret your own life. It's yours. Go live it. That's really the lesson here is you shouldn't be, that's why I don't jump on bandwagons. That's why I try to avoid bandwagons because I'm like, wait, if everybody's going to jump off this cliff, I don't think I should too. Even if it's a positive venture, it's like I have to ask even my own mind, like, okay, those people are really excited about doing this thing right now. Am I really excited about doing this thing? Or am I just doing it because they're really excited? Everybody's built differently. Some people might want to be like, yeah, let's go on a boat. And then that friend's like, I don't really want to go on a boat. I'd rather just sit here by the fire pit. But they go on the boat because they feel like that's what their friends want them to do. But it's cool. You could totally sit by the fire pit, and I guarantee you there'll be another person in that group that's like, you know what? I'll stay back with you and hang out at the fire pit. And then you might end up having more fun, at the fire pit with a glass of wine and some whiskey, So really make your own choices. If you know somebody who is struggling with mental illness, especially through the social media stuff, if you know of a therapist, please let me know, because I've done a lot of online research and there doesn't seem to be any therapists that short of just listening and, or diagnosing with like any major condition, I have not found anyone who specializes in this. And I've actually let myself get very stressed and frustrated about it because my nature is to help other people. It's always been my nature to do that, to give more of myself oftentimes than I receive in return. And it's okay because I enjoy doing that. And I have to accept other people have different gifts that they use in different ways. But if you know of a therapist who understands this, and would be willing to take the time, because time is really the issue, right? Or it's really the will and the time. And I would do it, but I'm afraid for myself that it's going to, drive me mad, And my husband and I too, my husband's helped me out with this as well, trying to have these important conversations about reality and what's worth your time and to what purpose would somebody make this conspiracy theory. If it's been there, somebody would have said something by now, right? That's always the thing. It's like, and to what purpose? Why? What did it do? So yeah, a lot of those questions. I mean, there have been a couple, of course, that I've questioned. I'm like, interesting. Like there's one about the mattress factories. I don't know if you saw that, but a whole bunch of them were like really in close proximity and all on like the East Coast. And they're like, oh, they're doing money laundering on the shore. And they actually had like investigators look into it, and they're like, no, but then they uncovered like some other crap. But it's funny, I guess, with one thing is if somebody has a hunch about something, it could end up uncovering something else. But they say trust your instincts, but they looked into it and it was just a conspiracy theory. There was no money laundering. But I feel bad for people that spend their time doing these things. And then they'd rather spend their time getting groups of strangers together, to talk about these things rather than just like finding real friends in real life to hang out with and talk about what's going on in their own personal life, like their family or their work or what project they're working on in their house or something like that, because I don't think it brings them true joy. I think it hurts them more than it gives them that, momentary victory, because I don't think they're ever going to find their victory. They're never going to find that moment. Well, anyways, I'm going to leave you with a quote today. Trust is hard to build, but easy to break. Doing the right thing is often hard to do. Thanks for listening. This has been Katie Rose, served straight up with a twist. Catch my follow-up Fridays on YouTube, where I respond to your YouTube comments on any thoughts or questions relating to each week's episode. It gives you a chance to have a more intimate conversation with me and opens up the door to new topics. Find me at my YouTube channel, Katie Rose, straight up with a twist. And remember, if you're thinking it, I'm probably talking about it.